Now we've already done the primary coat, and most of the pieces you can already see are starting to take shape. Now, one problem that we always have with the sprues is every once in a while there's about a pinhole size that actually you can see right through to the primer. And every time that you dry brush over it, you're still going to miss it. So one of the things that we're going to be doing here is we're going to mix it a little bit thinner, a little bit lighter of a mix, so that we can go over the pieces, so that we can also check underneath the magnifying glass to see whether or not we can see any of those pieces or any of those pinholes that might exist, and make sure to take care of those areas. But we're still going to give it a full second coat. The more coats that you put on here, the better it's going to look. It's going to add a degree of shading to it. It's going to add a degree of highlight to it. And if it's not the exact color that you want, you don't have to worry about it, because we're going to go over and we're going to put on yet other coats later on. And as you'll see, it just adds more and more detail to the figures. Instead of them looking stagnant, like something that you would draw, this actually makes it a true 3D art. So we're going to get right to it. We also have an extra brush here today, and the reason why we have the extra brush is just in case I want to trace along the lines to add that chaos black, that real thin black line that's actually supposed to be the shadow of any piece that stands out on the armor. Now, the first thing that you always want to do is to make sure that you have something to put it into, your paint into. But in this case, I want to make sure that I can measure out exactly what I have. So in this case, I'm going to be using a spoon. I'm going to do a half and half mix. The paint that I'm going to be mixing with my ultramarines is actually a watered down paint as it is. Now, keep in mind, you can still use a syringe. You can also use an old brush for this technique as far as mixing the paint goes. It doesn't matter, do it how you feel comfortable doing it. You can also use a palette if you prefer to paint off of a palette. The only problem that I normally have with painting off of a palette is normally I can never mix enough all at once, and I find slight variations in the color throughout the people. So, because I'm doing 10 guys, I'm going to try to mix 10 guys worth right here, right now. We'll get right down to it and we'll start on our way. One last thing that I want to note is always paint how you feel comfortable. You've always seen me painting straight down on the table. Now normally, I'd actually hold the sprue close to my chest to paint like this. Paint however you feel comfortable, paint with the brushes that you feel comfortable. If you have to alter your brushes, if you have to use smaller detail brushes, that's fine. If you have to use larger ones until you get the hang of the smaller detail brushes, that's fine too. Just make sure that however you do it, you feel comfortable. When I'm all done this, we'll go ahead and wrap it up and we'll show you what these look like. But until then, we'll continue doing this and we'll make sure that we don't have that many issues. Thank you.